All right, I'm Thunder. This is Thunder Acres. Today I'm going to give you an inside look at my monster truck, Thunder 4x4. Let's get it fired up, get it outside. I'll show you what I'm talking about. One of the first things I always got asked in the pit party is, how do you get a big monster truck tire down the road? First thing you gotta do is take off the big tires, put in transport tires. So we're gonna give you a demonstration what that's all about. NASCAR victory, here we go. You like that NASCAR? Not bad. We're dealing with 700-pound tires. You guys only got like 70-pound tires. Okay, we got the big boys off. We got the transport tires on. I've never done this. We're going to take it out for a little spin. Kind of like the mud truck guys. Not going to do much. No helmet. I do need ear protection. the yard, the tires on it, didn't do too bad. So, as you can see, we got the transport tires on. You start with the chassis, tubular chassis frame. All TIG welded, powder coated, computer generated. Best in the business. Then you take the heart of the motor. We do need to do some cleaning here, kind of dusty. The heart of the motor, we took out the big bad 540 blowing motor, and we put in a 640 methanol burner, non-blower, just so we can operate it in half-hour times on Thunder Acres for videos, versus the blower motor, 2 minutes and you were hot, you had to shut down. This motor, we can run and run and run and get many hours on it, very little maintenance. So, after the motor, that one puts out, the first motor put out with the blower motor, 1,500 horsepower. This is just shy of that there. Then you come over here, we got the transmission. There again, built by Cohen, built by the Quarter Mile guys, and that thing is a 2-speed power glide. And you can see we don't have to have a transmission blanket. Back in the days, you used to have a transmission blanket for safety. Your transmission blew up to save the truck and any people from getting hurt. They put a blanket around it. I got tired of the blanket always getting oily. So Cohen, when they came up with this here bulletproof one, they took the case and they made it about 1.5 inches thick. It's a bulletproof case. Anything that happens stays inside, nice and clean. Then we drop down here to the drop box. I got an 18-inch drop box or transfer case. You got to be able to get the power down to the drive shafts. So that's an 18-inch drop. If you go by the top cover there, there's gears in there, top and a bottom gear. You can go from anywhere from a 30% overdrive, 20% overdrive, 10% overdrive, 1-to-1, 10% under, 20% under, 30% under, depending on your track. The small tracks like the hockey arenas, you want the low gears. The big time outdoor tracks, you want the high gears. Then you follow through drive shaft. Let's go to the back end. The drive shaft, there again, safety. Monster trucks, as dangerous as they can be, are very safe as well. Safety is top priority. You can see the drive shaft, and when you're into 30% gears, that drive shaft can be turning up to 10,000 RPM. Drive shafts aren't made to turn 10,000 RPM, so we put that loop around there. The knuckle comes apart, shaft comes apart from all the horsepower. This here loop will keep it contained, save the motor, save the oil pan, and the safety of the people watching on an outdoor show when they get pretty close. Then you go back here, you gotta have brakes for these 10,000 pound monster trucks, 1,500 horsepower, a good set of brakes. The driveline brakes, we do not have wheel brakes. We have driveline brakes, front and rear. We got ours Wilwood, they're again protected from the cars and stuff. Front and rear driveline brakes. One fails, we got the other one. So then, you come back here to the axle. We got a very unique axle. Most people use ZF, Rockwell, Clark. I never had that in my salvage yard business. We had salvage tractors, white farm equipment, and they had a Soma axle. It didn't do well the first year I was out there, but you can see I beefed it up, and it's a very tough axle. In 20 years of monster trucking, I only lost my tire one time. Not too many trucks can say that. But you can see we beefed up the cylinders. In a while, another video, I'll show you all my damaged parts in the years, but you can see that 1 1/4 inch cylinder, we put in a U shape one time on a landing. This truck has lockers in it. We're kind of known for the Cyclones. So inside our differential, we have what's called the Detroit locker. We used to go through spiders all the time. A differential will make one wheel spin and one wheel wonder. We put Detroit lockers in. That thing is locked up solid. With the little wheels on, I could turn easily. But you put the big wheels on, put this on concrete, and them things are locked together. You actually have to accelerate, spin the tires to turn the wheels. That's how solid that is. All right. Stabilization. Well, let's start with the shocks. Shocks, next to the engine, is the most important thing on this truck. Back in the day, in the early 80s, when they first started out, they had no suspension. Maybe you were lucky to have a 6-inch coil spring. So the big old monster truck tires were your suspension. They ran about 4 pounds of air in that tire just to get some suspension, and then they would bounce all over. When I got into business in the late 90s, early 2000s, luckily shocks came into play. My first ones were just made out of a cylinder with a nitrogen accumulator behind there. Then I went to King, which I think is one of the best in the business. We went to a coilover. The spring here controls the ride height. Then I have these big 4-inch bypass valves. Nitrogen accumulator behind the shock and the bypass. I can take and adjust the air pressure to set the ride height again besides the spring. But more importantly, on the landing, there are 3 sets of bypass tubes. There's a valving, there's a piston inside this ram, and the piston has holes in it. And then there's a set of shims on top of that. And when the piston is being forced into the barrel on the landing, them washers bend a little bit, let oil pass to catch the truck smoothing out the landing. So that's the first stage. The second stage is my long tubes here. There's a threaded needle valve here, and the oil is forced up into there. The oil's forced into here. This bypass, I can close it, open it, and allows the restriction of that oil to bypass and go back to the other barrel side. There again, stage 2 of the landing. This stuff is high tech, and it's very high tech to get it adjusted. After it hits that one, and the spring and the piston gets to this here stage, if you can see this here one, when the piston gets there again, we're about 6 inches of travel left. I can adjust this here one for the last 6 inches of it to prevent bottoming out. And then our last stage is just the last 2 inches. We set that pretty heavy because we do not want the barrel to hit the bottom here and bottom out. That hurts. But anyway, that is a top state-of-the-art 26 inches of travel. Remember, when they first started out, no shocks at all, suspension, and them guys, friends of mine, got beat up. So, that's the shocks. When you got an air ride like that there, you need a stabilization so the trucks don't tip to one side. So we got our stabilizer bar hooked up to the drive shaft. This here spring shaft, the thing is allowed to twist and find its memory, and that keeps the truck level. So, let's talk about, as long as we're back here, steering. The front, you steer like a car. There's a lot of things to do in a monster truck. The back end has got a toggle switch, like a pistol. And if you push to the right side, the electric over hydraulic, like a snowplow in a truck, you hit the switch to one side, the electric motor kicks in, sends oil to the cylinders. That's how you control your rear steering. You can also put it in automatic mode where you go around the corner like for racing or freestyle where you want to be fast. You hit it, it goes all the way to the bank, automatically comes back when you let go of the trigger. That is how a truck is steered. Then inside the cab you got your 2-speed first and second gear. So first, second, your electric steer, main steer. Then inside the cab, you can see here, we got a state-of-the-art seat. Tyler can get up in there and see it. And we got a 5-point harness, showing that where my head is there. That's part of the Hans device where you basically fit tight in there so you don't get no side slap on your neck. That's why the helmet fits so tight. And then also you can see in there, we got a fire retardant system I'll show you out here. In case there's a fire, you pull a switch and it puts out the fire. All right, let's talk about the fuel, how healthy this engine is. This fuel tank is 22 gallons, and a 2 or 3 minute freestyle, we'll be down to the last few gallons. This monster truck at idle takes about a water fountain. At full throttle, it takes a water hose. This thing takes 6 gallons per minute of fuel. So let's just give you something that you can compare easily. So, if we were to go down the road 60 miles an hour for 1 hour, we'd make it 60 miles. Divide that by, we're taking 6 gallons per minute times 60 minutes, that's 360. Divide that by 360. So we went 60 miles and it took 360 gallons of fuel. That truck is getting 0.16 miles per gallon. That's not too good. at $6 gallon methanol. All right. You can see our battery system here. This is our electric hydraulic steering for the back end. We carry 3 batteries. We share a battery. They're all 12 volt. I got 2 hooked parallel, so that just gives us extra juice for starting. Then in the rear steer, I want it super fast, so that's a 12 volt system starting motor. I got that hooked in series, take it to 24. That's why this steering here is super fast. We're running a 12 volt motor and pushing 24 volts through it. So I think we covered everything. We do run alternators, so we don't have to charge as often. We do have a little cooling system here, radiator, fan, we got that there. So we are ready. Another thing we never did, and like I say, this is a Chevy. There's not too much Chevy on it besides the fiberglass that makes it look like a Chevy truck. So I think we covered a couple more safety things. This here, when we're in small buildings, especially anything indoor, this here thing here, if you want to bring the camera here, Tyler, this here cable here wraps around that disc in there. Then you hook that 2 together, you clevis it, tie it down. If the spindle breaks, this here thing here is like a noose, goes like that, and it'll choke the wheel because the disc is welded on there, and the wheel will stay with the truck instead of going out into the crowd. Like I said, safety on a monster truck. Here's our flame retardant system. I just pull the pin if I feel a heater in the fire, and there's nozzles in the cab that'll spray the cab, protect the driver. These here was our 2 sets of gears for the transfer case. Now, another thing I never did with this truck is I always wanted to take it and put the 2 big wheels on the back, take it out for a little spin. So that's what we're going to do next. You want to tire down? I'm going to show you how to tire up, but the big wheel's back on. Line high on the farm. That was my dirt mile, 100 acres. There's the 4 acres. We're starting to build that dirt mile and that 4 acre track. We got here? Is this a monster truck or a quarter-mile truck? We're about to find out. This is another first. I've never done this, but let's see what we can do. Okay, we got the big tires on, ready to perform. But first, we gotta check the most important thing: shock pressure. We gotta check the pressure when it's all the way up. So we gotta take a skid loader, lift it so all the shocks are fully extended to get the pressure. Take the safety cap off, protect the belt stem. That's good. Cut it off. Okay, we're at 270 on the bypass. That's plenty. We got 110 on the coilover, 270 on the bypass. Okay, we got the rears adjusted. We put them at 200 and 100. We're gonna try the front ones now, see what they're at. Let's lift up the front and check the front and see where they're at. I did some recent work on the shocks, so that's why we gotta check everything out. That's good, straight up. We gotta go up to our limiting straps. The limiting strap actually protects the shock. So we're in the air and we're fully extended. The pressure is not on the shocks, it's on the limiting straps. Limiting straps will protect the 26-inch shock. We put these at 25, so the piston does not hit the end of the cab. A little farther up. That's good. I'm pulling the cap off. We're going to check the front coilovers first. Now you can give me a reading. 75. 80. We'll go at 80. Sounds right for the front. Check the other side. As long as they're here. That's good. You don't have no leaks. Let's check the bypass. We're ready to make a run. See my dent here? That's when I ran, cartwheeled it in the old Metrodome, brand new truck. Did some damage. All right. We got 150. That's good. Come here, check this side. The other side? 150. Yeah. So we're close enough. Alright, we got our shock checked. Let's let her down. Yeah. Alright, we got our shocks checked over. Remember one thing, this was an educational film. but we are going to take it out now and make a jump or two. I got a brand new motor. This thing ain't got 5-10 minutes on it, and the shocks was going through too, so we're not going to get crazy. We're just going to go a little bit over that jump right there, a couple times maybe, just to see how everything feels, you know, and then we're going to get dialed in for another video another day. So here we go. Now, I need that. Okay, there you have it. We're done for today. I gave you the insight on Thunder 4x4 monster truck. I gotta tell you a few artifacts. We've been in the business for 21 years. We did over 700 shows. We traveled around the country and we did about 250,000 miles across the country. We burnt about 15,000 gallons of methanol through that. We changed the oil 350 times. We took the big tires on and off 1,400 times. We had 4 different colors. It was white, it was blue, it was red, and now it's back to white. I'm very patriotic, so I stuck to them colors. We had 2 trucks built in that time period. My first one is 99. It took me 2.5 years to build it. My second one I built in 2011. It took me 6 months to build it. And we had 3 names over the 21 years. It was Rolling Thunder with a G. It was Rollin' Thunder without the G. And then I changed it to Thunder 4x4. We sold as many as 800 toys per day at Walmart at one time. I don't know how many it was, 250,000, 500,000, or 500,000 I should say. But we sold as many as 800 a day in the big box stores. And in 21 years, the monster truck has brought in $1 million in revenue. Not saying I made $1 million, but I brought in $1 million in shows and memorabilia. So that is Thunder 4x4 in a nutshell. This is Sunday Fun Day. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what I do around here, remember, like, share, subscribe, and that's an out.